Donald Trump says he'll impose 30% tariffs on imports from the EU and Mexico starting next month. This after weeks of negotiations with Brussels failed to reach a comprehensive trade deal. Trump blamed long-term and persistent trade deficits with the EU, despite average EU tariffs on US goods of only around 1%. The European Commission says the EU will impose countermeasures if necessary. On Mexico, which has had free trade with the US for decades, Trump says the government has not done enough to curb cross-border drug trafficking. Trump made similar tariff threats against dozens of other trading partners earlier this week. Inga Fechner is a senior economist for Germany and global trade at the ING Bank. Inga, good to see you. European trade officials had seemed to signal US trade negotiations had been progressing well in recent weeks. So why do you think Trump has decided to push ahead with a 30% tariff?
I think for once, the positive news is that the deadline has been extended from 9 July to 1st of August. So nothing has really changed that much. So it might only be a negotiating tactic from Trump, pushing the partners maybe to offer even more to the United States, because many countries who have been negotiating in good faith, who have been made offers, have now been on the letter list by Trump and having received higher tariffs. So I wouldn't put too much into it just yet. It might just be another threat. Also, we shouldn't forget that the EU has been threatened with a 50% tariff before, so the 30% is actually a bit lower than that. But of course, we still have 3 weeks' time. Negotiations can go on. So I wouldn't be overly dramatic just yet. Of course, it's a slap in the face for everyone who has been negotiating, who have been on the team, who have been efforts to calm the US side and to offer things. But we still have this 3 weeks deadline. So up until August 1st. Let's see what happens until then. It's quite a lot of time in those times, so 3 weeks' time. That's a massive amount of time. So let's wait what really happens going forward.
As a bloc, Inga, the EU was designed, at least in part, to have economic power. In this moment, could they flex that muscle in response to Trump's pressure? Is this the moment that they stand up to Trump?
Well, of course, the European Union has some power. I mean, it's the most. It's a great trading bloc. They really trade lots of goods with the US, but they also import lots of stuff from the US. It's the third most important importing partner for the European Union. So they do have power. Of course, they always also have the digital services tax. They have the digital service levies. They could target US companies, the big tech companies. So that is their leverage. But if they really will follow through, that's another thing. And we shouldn't forget, it's a 27-nation bloc. So, of course, there are differing interests. Not every country is that much attached with trade with the United States. So, of course, some countries are more impacted by the tariffs than others. So some countries are also not that much interested in having good trade ties with the United States compared to others. So that makes it quite difficult to find a common line. And that's also what we've seen in the negotiations going forward. So some countries really pushing for reciprocal measures, some countries opting for calm approach. So it makes it, of course, difficult for the European Union to act united and to really be the strong force against the United States, although they are, of course, and they have lots of power.
Inga Fechner, senior economist at the ING Bank. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.